In August 1968, steam came to an end on British Railways. On the first 2 weekends of the month, there was a rush of special trains, all but one on the 4th of the month, a Saturday. 3 of the engines used on those are seen at Garstang and Catterall on the West Coast Main Line heading south from Carnforth to Lostock Hall Loco, which would be the main base for all of them on that day's specials. In no particular order, since they were all to run across the northwest of England around Lancashire and Yorkshire, we start by watching our first Black 5 in its train leaving Stockport. Here we see ex-LMS Black 5, number 45156, formerly known as Ayrshire Yeomanry, the last of the 5 named Black 5s, heading the tour organised by George Davis, the former president of the Bahamas Locomotives Society, at Heaton Norris Junction, in order to run around Manchester to reach Victoria Station. The train ran out via Denton and then through Victoria and Salford before taking the Blackburn line via Entwistle and Soft Tunnel. It then crossed to Hellifield and ran to Carnforth. The headboard proclaimed that this was run by Stockport Bahamas Locomotive Society, although the promoter was shown as GC Enterprises. All very confusing. Here the train is seen approaching Salford, climbing up from Manchester Victoria under Oldfield Road Bridge, and it's about to pass sister locomotives number 44871 and 44894, which were heading down to Victoria to work the SLS's Farewell to Steam Tour number 1. Our last view of this special sees 45156 in the cutting at Newsholme, on the line from Blackburn to Hellifield. This was the only one of these society specials to feature a single Black 5, this engine being withdrawn a week later and scrapped at the end of the year. We revert to Salford, where numbers 44871 and 44894, seen briefly behind the previous tour, headed down to Victoria to work the SLS's Farewell to Steam Tour number 1. This train was the first of a pair of tours run this day for the Stevenson Locomotive Society Midland Area branch and organised by the legendary WA Cam Camwell. They were sometimes known as numbers 1 and 2 and sometimes as A and B. The tickets didn't distinguish between them. This scene shows Train 1 at Greenfield on the climb through Diggle to Standedge Tunnel. Train 1, reporting number 1Z78, is then seen again on the climb to Copy Pit, the magnificent line climbing up through the valley from Todmerton being one of the favourites of the last steam routes. The trains ran on identical itineraries from Manchester Victoria via Diggle, Huddersfield, Copy Pit, Blackburn, Kirkby, Wigan, Bootle and Rainhill back to Manchester Victoria. The second train, reporting number 1Z79, was booked to run about 30 to 45 minutes behind number 1 and was headed by another pair of Black 5s, numbers 44874 and 45017. It's also seen climbing towards Standedge Tunnel. Our cameraman then moved to the southern end of Soft Tunnel on the Blackburn to Bolton line. He wisely remained in position to film the 2 SLS specials. First, unsurprisingly, came number 1, with numbers 44871 and 44894 having run non-stop through Blackburn. Train number 2, or 1Z79, emerges and tops the climb. This one had made a call at Blackburn and was running some 50 odd minutes late at this stage. Both trains would reach Manchester Victoria about half an hour late, which compared very favourably with some of the other specials that day. Black 5 number 4 4781 had a busy day. The next rail tour on August the 4th was promoted by the LCGB, or Locomotive Club of Great Britain, and would start behind Oliver Cromwell and that engine. Having been seen awaiting the train at Manchester Victoria, they're then seen climbing at Entwistle up to Soft Tunnel. They would take the train down to Blackburn, where the Brit would come off and return to Lostock Hall to prepare for the RCTS tour, as we'll see shortly. The Black 5 was destined to be the train engine for much of this tour, it being piloted by the first of two 8Fs to be seen on this day, number 4 8773, now a Severn Valley resident, from Blackburn via Hellifield to Carnforth. The pair is seen here at Gisburn. Reversing at Carnforth, the train returned whence it had come, behind numbers 45390 and 45025, and are seen here leaving Hellifield. Lostock Hall was the place to be if one wanted to see all the engines in use that day. Here the LCGB train passes non-stop on the east to south leg of the triangle prior to being replaced by a Class 40, English Electric Type 4 diesel, number D416 for the journey back to Crewe. The 5s then backed into Lostock Hall Yard for water. The RCTS's tour boasted the most engine variety and was the only one not called Farewell to Steam. It was the end of steam commemorative rail tour, and it started out at Manchester Victoria Station behind 8F number 48476 and BR Standard Class 5 number 73069 with one of our cameramen on board as it ran via Thorpesbridge Junction, Oldham Mumps and Milnrow. The two locomotives then headed the train over the old L&Y lines through Rochdale, Castleton, Bury Knowsley Street, Bolton and Entwistle to Blackburn. The pairing is seen on the final part of their stint climbing through Entwistle. At Blackburn, Black 5 number 4 5407 waited to relieve the 8F, whilst the BR5 remained as the train engine. This pairing would take the train, reporting number 1L50, along the line to Hellifield via Clitheroe and over the famous Worley Arches Viaduct, which is still a favourite location and steam photographic vantage point today. Hellifield remains an important part of the steam railway world today, some half a century on from this arrival. At the time, enthusiasts were fearful they would never see another mainline steam train after the following weekend, as BR had announced a complete ban on any form of steam working on its metals from the 12th of August 1968. At Hellifield, the locomotives ran round the train and then reversed it by working tender first across to Skipton. At Skipton they changed ends again, and now running in the correct way, took the train back via Colne, Burnley, Rosegrove and Blackburn across to Lostock Hall, where the final engine of the day awaited it. Following its run on the LCGB tour, the big standard number 70013 Oliver Cromwell had run down to Lostock Hall for servicing, before taking up the final leg of the RCTS tour from there to Stockport Edgeley on its own. Here the Brit sets off for Stockport. After this, it would have but one more duty to perform. Little regard was paid by our cameraman to BR's own last days of steam rail tour on that fateful day. Like the GC Enterprises tour, it boasted but one Black 5, in this instance number 45305, another survivor, which is seen reversing past light engine at Lostock Hall earlier in the day to work this train, which was reporting number 1T85. We have no views of the actual tour. All that was left to do at Lostock Hall after the Brit had gone was to dispose of the engines, literally for 7 of them. For all the engines seen here, it would be the final time. None would work again for British Railways. However, for some of those 12 engines that worked the 4th of August 1968 trains, numbers 48773, 45407, 45305, 45025 and 70013, there would be a second coming, as they would pass into preservation.